In this video, I'm going to show you how to use the original silver blade holder. To start with, set it down, and then the blade itself comes with a cap on it. The cap is protecting the sharp part of the blade, and you need to be very careful because after removing the cap, you don't want to drop the blade or bump into anything that's hard because the tip of the blade can chip off. It's a very fragile, very brittle blade. Once you have the cap off, if you're right-handed, hold the blade holder in your right hand. If you're left-handed, you'll hold the blade in your left hand. Now then, on the original silver blade holder, there's a cap that you need to remove. So just unscrew that cap and set it aside. Then insert the non-sharp end of the blade into the hole in the blade holder. Just slide it in there, and at some point you're going to feel a little magnet. Or you may or may not feel it. There's a little magnet in there that just grabs hold of that blade. Okay? Now then, once you have the blade in there, then gently place the cap over the top, again being careful not to bump into the tip of the blade, and then begin to screw the main part of the blade holder clockwise. As you're turning it clockwise, you will eventually see the tip of the blade exposed from the bottom of the blade holder. Now note, you don't want to have more blade exposed than what's necessary to cut through the material you're cutting. So if you're cutting through something that's very thin like vinyl or printer paper, then you're barely going to have any blade exposed at all. In fact, if you can see it, you may have too much blade exposed. You should be able to just barely feel the tip. If you're cutting something like cardstock, then hold the blade up next to the cardstock and make sure it looks like it was just enough to cut through the cardstock. Again, if you have too much blade showing, that blade is going to go through the material you're cutting and start cutting into the mat, and that's going to dull your blade sooner. It's also not going to give you the best cutting to be doing that. So then once you have your blade holder set just the way you like it, just the amount you think you need, you're ready to put it into the cutter.